that here we are discussing about consolidated financial statements, right? Consolidated financial statements. Today we are going to plan to complete most of the areas related to this critical chapter, right? Here I'm planning to discuss the critical adjustments and then want to do some questions with you all. That's the expectation, right? Want to have some notes as well. Put your topic consolidated financial statements. Consolidated financial statements, right? The note as consolidated financial statement is right like this. The financial statements of a group, you have right? The financial statements of a group in which assets, liabilities, income, expenses, and cash flows of the parent and its subsidiaries. The parent and subsidiaries are presented as those of a single entity. Are those presented as a single economic entity. Are those presented as single economic entity. So they get it. Right, whatever the parent company and subsidiary company, income, expense, whatever the cash flows, we recorded as one single economic entity. That is called consolidated financial statements, right? Here we discuss about two things. What is that? Parent and subsidiary. Parent and subsidiary. What do you mean by parent? That's a key company in a group environment. That's a leading company, right? That's a leading company. So for that we do have a definition. Other than that, we call as this parent plus subsidiaries, we call as group. Okay. So put a definition for group. Group the parent and its subsidiaries. That's the definition for group. Group means its parents and its subsidiaries, or as group, right? The parent and its subsidiaries. Or as a group. The parent and its subsidiaries. Okay. The parent here. The entity that controls one or more entities. Parent is the entity that controls one or more entities. we call as parent, right? Parent. An entity that controls one or more entities, right? Subsidiary. An entity that is controlled by another entity. An entity that is controlled by an entity that is controlled by another entity. An entity that is controlled by another entity. Right. And then we understood that all these four words, are you getting me? Consolidated financial statements, parent, subsidiary, and group. Four words done. So those are the definitions given in the standards, right? We understood what's a consolidated class. That here. That clear. So we are having these four words: consolidated financial statement, group, parent, subsidiary, right? Consolidated financial means we are going to record all these income, expenses, cash flows as a one single economic entity for parent and subsidiary combination. Means that preparing financial statement for group, means consolidated financial statement. That's what we are going to do, right? So once you are acquiring that parent entity can acquire subsidiary entity. Right? Parent entity can acquire subsidiary entity. Once you are acquiring, the acquisition date will be decided based on the controlling power. Controlling power. That's a very key element we need to consider. That's called control of an investee. Control of an investee. Put a definition for that as well. Control of an investee. Control of an investee. Control of an investee. What is that? An investor controls, like this. An investor controls an investee. An investor controls an investee when the investor is exposed. When the investor is exposed or has right to variable returns. Or has rights to variable returns from its involvement with the investee. And has the ability to affect those returns through its power over the investee. Power over the investee. Again, I am repeating myself. It's a technical definition, right? We are going to write the definition for control over the entity, control of an investee. The definition: an investor controls an investee when the investor is exposed or has rights to variable returns from its involvement with the investee, right? And has the ability to affect those returns through the power over the investee. I will get this standard, right? That's the easy. So you have to write this definition. Simply, what it means to you. Here we have this parent entity and subsidiary entity. Parent entity getting the control over subsidiary entity, control over what? The variable return. That's the meaning, right? What's the standard we want to refer? SLFRS 10. Right. Understand it? SLFRS state, consolidated financial statement, right? Consolidated financial statement. You have set of definitions, right? Set of definitions. Now, what about the definitions? Take a කොහොමද කිව්වේ? මම බලාගෙනද කිව්වේ? බලාගෙන කියන්න දෙයක්වත් නැහැ. මේක තමයි මුලින්ම කිව්වේ. Consolidated financial statement, right? What is a consolidated financial statement? The financial statement of a group in which asset, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, cash flows, and of a parent and its subsidiaries are presented as those of a single one economic entity. Right? That's called consolidated financial statement. Then I told you what a group is. A parent and subsidiaries. That's a group, right? Group is a parent and subsidiaries. Then I mentioned that what a parent is. An entity that controls one or more entities is a parent, right? Then what's a subsidiary is? An entity that is controlled by another entity. That's a subsidiary, right? So, මම මෙතනින් ගත්තේ මොනවද? Key definitions ටික ගත්තා. සේරම ටික හරියටම දැනගන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි I'm not going to discuss about all these definitions, but you need to familiar with. Then we have another critical definition. What is that? What is that? Another critical definition. Control of an investee. That's what we try to write it down. What is that? An investor controls an investee when the investor is exposed or has rights to variable return from its involvement with the investee and has the ability to affect those returns through its power over the investee. Power over the investee. Then අපි consolidated financial statements බලන්න ගියාම අපිට control එක කියන්නේ subsidiary parent ගැන කතා කරන්න උනා, right? Subsidiary parents ගැන කතා කරන්න උනා. In a group company. It means within a group company, right? Yeah, I'm concerned what I'm today. You just have the note. We had a note for consolidated financial statement, right? Consolidated financial statement. We discussed about this definition. What is that? We are going to present financial statement of a group of companies, right? What's a group? We have a definition of parent and subsidiaries. Okay, parent and subsidiaries. Then we had a definition what's a parent is. Then what's a subsidiary is, right? And then once you have a parent and subsidiary means an entity that controls one or more entity. Then we are going to learn what's a control is. Control means, what is this? Control of an investee. Control ගැන කතා කරනකොට තව word එකක් මේකේ. මොකක්ද ආපු word එක? අලුත් වචන. මෙතන තියෙනවා තව එක වචනයක්. ඔය. What is that? What? This is the keyword. While here, let me word again. Underline करता. मेरे definition के लिए आया तो कहते हैं क्या? An investor controls an investee when the investor is exposed or has a right. Exposed or has a right to variable return from and its involvement Once we are investing in a subsidiary company, we have a right or we expose to have variable return for our contribution, for our involvement. For our involvement with the investee and has ability to affect those returns to its power over the investee, its power over the investee. Now we are discussing about what? The parent and subsidiary relationship. Once we are having a parent, by using his power, he's controlling the subsidiary. Controlling what? Controlling the return, right? Controlling the return because of the involvements given by the parent to its subsidiary. That's called control. So the way definition involved in the study right? Once we are discussing control of the investee, we have a word called power. Right? We have a word called power. To power, we are having a definition like this. What's the power is? Existing rights that give the current ability to direct the relevant activities. Put that definition as well. What's power is? That definition. Existing right that give the current ability to direct the relevant activities. Make activity කියන එකේ මේ තියෙන S එක. S එකේ යටින් ඉඳන් ඇදගත්තොත් තමයි activities. Right? හරිනේ. දැන් consolidated financial statement එකේ විතර ලියන්න බෑ. අපි definition කියන්න තියාගත්තා. දැන් definition කියන්න තියාගත්තා. දැන් ලියගෙන නැත්නම්. තියාගන්න ඕන. දැනට අපි definition consolidated financial statement, group, subsidiary, parent, control and the power. 6 definitions ලියන්න. ඒ නම් ටික හරි ලියා ගන්නකොට දැන් තියෙන මෙතන ලියන්න consolidated financial statement. ඊට පස්සේ බේරි තුනක් ඉඳ තියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ලියන්න parent කියලා. group කියලා ලියන්න. group කියලා ලියලා ඊට පස්සේ parent කියලා ලියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ subsidiary කියලා ලියන්න. ඊට පස්සේ control over the investee and then power. එතකොට අපි වචන කීයක් ලියලාද දැන් වචන 6ක් ලියන්නේ consolidated financial statement, group, parent, subsidiary, what else? Control over the investing, power. So definition high අනිත් ඒවා ගොඩාක් ටෙස්ට් කරන්නේ නැති වෙයි. right? ওই definition high අනිවාර්යෙන් ටෙස්ට් කරනවා. මොනවද definition high? Consolidated financial statements, what is a group, what's the parent, subsidiary, control over the investee and the power. සේරම කතා කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? එකම topic එකේ තියෙන වචන ටික ගැන. Because of power, we are having the control. Because of control, we are having the consolidation. Right? A definition higher. Okay. පස්සේ note එක ලියා ගන්න. දැන් අද note ලියන දවස. note ලියනවා ගණන් හදනවා මොනවද? ඒක definition ලියා ගන්න නැතුණත් කමන්නේ මේව critical කියලා ලියා ගන්න. So ඔයාලට standard එක ගිහින් බලලා හරි. ඔක screen print එකක් photo එකක් දාන්න තියාගත්තා. අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් content එක. It's up to you to decide how you are going to take the note. Right? Right. Okay. Now we are continuing the note. The date, the parent entity, the parent entity acquire the control. The date the parent entity acquire the controls. Acquire the control. The date acquire the control. Call as acquisition date. Call as acquisition date. Acquisition date. As an accountant. The consolidation process should be started. The date the parent entity acquires the controls over the entity holds as acquisition date. In other words, the date the parent entity acquires the subsidiary we call as acquisition date, right? The acquisition day onwards, as accountant, we should prepare consolidated financial statements. That's the understanding you should have, right? Okay. The date you are getting that control, from that day onwards, as accountant, we should start the consolidation process, right? Consolidation process. Once we are completing consolidated financial statements, once we are completing consolidated financial statements, it should be consistent with consolidated income statement. Consistent with first one. Consolidated income statement. Right? Second, consolidated statement of financial position. Consolidated statement of financial position. Third one, consolidated statement of cash flows. Consolidated statement of was a consolidated statement of equity statement. Then consolidated notes and disclosures. Right? Consolidated notes and disclosures. Notes and disclosures. Right. It is statement. Then consolidated notes and disclosures. Right. Once you are completing above consolidation financial statements, once you are completing above consolidated financial statements, above consolidated financial statements, once you are completing above consolidated financial statements, we are supposed to collect parents' financial statements, and subsidiaries' financial statement. Subsidiary is the first topic, subsidiaries' financial statements. Parents kenan කොහොමද? Parents kenan parent apostrophe s. Subsidiary s apostrophe, right? Subsidiaries financial statements. Dot, right? Supposed to collect all these financial statements. Then we should complete line by line consolidation. Line by line consolidation. Line by line consolidation. Line by line consolidation will be line by line consolidation. Consolidation is a complex process. With consolidated adjustments. With consolidated adjustments. With consolidated adjustments. And console adjustments. Consolidated adjustments කියලාට වඩා ලස්සනයි console adjustments කියලා දාගන්න. Console adjustments. Consolidated adjustments में moderation. Console adjustments. Those console adjustments can be divided into two. Those console adjustments can be divided into two. First one, pre-acquisition adjustments. Pre-acquisition adjustments. And then pre-acquisition adjustments and post-acquisition adjustments. Pre-acquisition adjustments and post-acquisition adjustments. And then note the pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. That's clearly note the consolidated finance. The consolidated financial statement. What's the definition? The definition is it's a set of financial statement for a group. It will combine income, expense, asset, liabilities of a parent and a subsidiary to a one single economic entity. That is called consolidated financial statement. Then we understood that what the group is, and then what's the subsidiaries. And once we are having group and the subsidiary, we understood that we have a definition called control over the investee. Then we understood what is the control over the investee. Control over the investee means one parent will control other parties' activities to earn a revenue. That revenue, that return will be controlled by the parent, right? That return is taken by the parent because of the involvement will be given to the subsidiary. That because of that involvement, parent getting a return to its personal benefit. This structure we call as a group, right? For group, once you are doing financial statement, we should use the line by line consolidation. Once you are doing line by line consolidation, that process should be started when? Acquisition එක කරන දවස් ඉඳන්. Acquisition එක කරන දවස් ඉඳන් කියන්නේ කවදද? Control එක හම් වෙන දවස් ඉඳන්. Control එක හම් වෙන දවස් ඉඳන් කිය මොකක්ද? Activities control කරන්න power එක හම් වෙන දවස්. Right? The day you are getting the power of controlling the activities of the subsidiary. That day onwards, we should do the consolidation. That consolidation process should be done line by line addition method. Once you are doing this complex process, you're supposed to do adjustments, right? That's what I told you last day. Last day means not immediate last day. Immediate last day, there was a disaster happened. Because at the time, sorry, that first time in statistics, I didn't come for an agreed lecture. Purely, it's a wrong thing done by me. lecture Sunday, right? It's not an excuse. Saturday lecture, Sunday done. Okay, මට ඕන classes දෙකක් console කරන්න කියලා. එක දිගට. නැත්නම් එකයිනේ අපිට තිබුණේ. Then agreed to put Sunday. Unfortunately, all stakeholders around me, they have a calendar. So he's having lectures on Saturday. I'm not having lectures on Sunday. They have pre-arrangement for some discussion. I take a look at it, discussion, මාවත් එන්න ඕනම කියලා දාගෙන. ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට ගියා 5 minutes back වුණා. ඒක තමයි උනේ. ඒකද නොකියන එක ලොකු concern එකක් වෙනවා. ඒක ලොකු concern එකක් මොකද මම යුනිවර්සිටි ගිය අක්කගේ ගෙදර ඉඳන්. ඒ අක්කගේ ගෙදර දුවලා දෙන්නම එක දවස් තමයි මැරි කරන්නේ. So the 2-in-1 wedding it's a bit complicated. Take a questions මේව කරලා arrange කරන responsibility එක තියෙනවා. So they දෙන්නම මාත් එක්කම තමයි grow උනේ. හරි ලස්සනයි කතාව. චූටි මම කැම්පස් එනකොට චූටි ළමයි දෙන්නම යුනිවර්සිටි ගිහිල්ලා දෙන්නම ජයවර්ධනපුර ගිහිල්ලා ඩිග්‍රී එකත් අරගෙන එක්කෙනෙක් දැන් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා අනිත් කෙනා දැන් ළඟදී ඩිග්‍රී එක ගන්න හදන්නේ. එයාත් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා යන්න ප්ලෑන් කරන්නේ. ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා යන එක නෙමෙයි. It's a good story. So I was a part of that. ඒක නිසා මට එන්න බැරි වුණා. මම ආවා. එනකොට පරක්කු වැඩි. So don't get upset about that. It was a mistake. So I will rectify it, right? Don't worry. So the one doubt that console කරන්න බැරි වෙයි එහෙම. Don't worry about that. I will do consolidation very slowly, right? Very slowly. You can understand, you can get familiar with it. Right. Right. You have a note now. So the note clearly mentioned what is the process is. Now we are going to discuss console adjustments, right? Console adjustments, we are having two types. What are they? Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition, right? Put a note, put a heading, pre-acquisition adjustments. Pre-acquisition adjustments. Pre-acquisition adjustment. As an accountant, an accountant supposed to do make adjustments for pre-acquisition transactions. Those were not adjusted to the financials. All these unadjusted transactions. Should be adjusted to the pre-acquisition equity. Pre-acquisition equity of the subsidiary. Pre-acquisition equity of the subsidiary. Since because of that, since these pre-acquisition entries will impact to the goodwill calculation. Pre-acquisition entries will be impacted to the goodwill calculation. Entries will impact to the goodwill calculation. Will impact to the goodwill calculation. Pre-acquisition acquire කරන්න දවසට කලින් මොනවා හරි unadjusted දේවල් දීලා තියෙනවා. Right? All these unadjusted items should be adjusted. Once you are adjusting it, that will impact to the equity of the subsidiary. Equity of the subsidiary. Right? Once we are adjusting something to equity of the subsidiary, in other words, that will impact to the goodwill calculation. Right? That will impact to the goodwill calculation. Once we are doing consolidation, once you are doing consolidation, the main pre-acquisition adjustment is goodwill calculation. The main pre-acquisition adjustment is goodwill calculation. Pre-acquisition adjustment is goodwill calculation. Yes, goodwill calculation. Here, topic goodwill calculation. Right. And I need topic for the vada venas maker. The console. Not here, no gana sudden no minimum word again. Then make it gana pan a gun limit again after a while. Pan a gun up there. Right. Then අපි goodwill calculation on the main adjustment එක. මේ adjustment එක ලකුණු කීයක් තියෙද exam එකේ? අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ලකුණු 35 ගානේ ලකුණු 7ක්ම තියෙන්නේ මේ adjustment. Right? Keep remember that. $35 marks question. 35 marks question again. Console question again 35 marks. Right? Then making animal like 10 marks. 10 marks. Theory, right? Theories. Another 25 marks for the consolidation. Right? Out of 25, 7 marks for goodwill calculation. 7 marks mean remaining we are having another 18 marks. 18 marks we are having 9 or 10 adjustments. For one adjustment, if you can do one adjustment, you are having 2 marks. The console ගන්නවා හරියට split කරගන්න. පැහැදිලිද? Exam එකේ ලකුණු 35ක් console question. Right? 35 marks for console question. 10 marks theories about consolidation. But we discussed the definition, and once we are conducting the lecture series for console, we are discussing some theory part. That theory part will be tested for 10 marks, if you remember that. Right? And the remaining 25, if you want to get, the topic I am going to discuss, goodwill calculation, 7 marks. Right? Keep remember, goodwill calculation, forward hari goodwill එකේ මේව ටික දාලා තියෙනවනම් ලකුණු 7ක් හම්බුනේ. Right? හරිද? So then, we are starting one by one. එතකොට මොනවද? Post acquisition adjustment, we are having around 10. Around 10 post acquisition adjustment. But post acquisition adjustment 10ක් හම්බ වෙනකොට ඒ 10ට දෙක ගන්න 20ක් හම්බ වෙනවා. Right? So that's the understanding. So I wrote these papers, right? But you know, past papers set එකයි. latest paper එකේ ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. මම අරගෙන අතට අරන් බලන්න. consolidation එක කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ? එහෙම බලන්න. බලලා ඕනනම් print out දාගන්න පුළුවන්. LMS උඩ ඇති first question එකේ ඉඳලා බලන්න. ටික ටික බෙදාගෙන බලන්න. ටික ඇහැට හුරු කරගත්තම හොඳයි paper එක. කොච්චර බැලුවා ගතියන්නේ මේ scan paper එක. අතට අරන් බලන්න ඕන hard copy paper එක. ඒක තමයි මේ වගේ experience එකක් තමයි exam එකේ තියෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒකට surprise වෙන්න එපා paper එකට ගිහිල්ලා. console question එක මේ විදිහට තමයි ending කියලා බලන්න. latest එකක් බලුවොත් හොඳයි 17C 17B 15 බලන්න එපා 15 වල එකෙන් revolution එකක් තියෙනවා paper එකේ 3 ඉඳලා මේ පැත්තට එනකොට හැබැයි structure එක එකයි questions වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවා right බලන්න ready වෙන්න exam එකට right one by one I am going to discuss now we are at goodwill calculation right okay cool Right. Now we are going to do goodwill calculation, right? Goodwill calculation. Right. Write the note. Goodwill can be calculated by using two methods. Goodwill can be calculated by using two methods. Goodwill can be calculated by using two methods. First one, goodwill calculation topic, right? Goodwill can be calculated by using two methods. First one, goodwill can be calculated by using two methods. Full goodwill method and partial goodwill method, 1 and 2. Full goodwill method and partially goodwill method. Full goodwill method and the partially goodwill method. Goodwill is an asset. Then make goodwill again definition again. Goodwill is an asset representing the future economic benefit. Goodwill is an asset. Goodwill is an asset representing future economic benefits. Representing future economic benefits. Future economic benefits. Right? Arising from other assets. Arising from other assets acquired in a business combination. Other assets acquired in a business combination that are not individually identified. Business combination. Goodwill is an asset representing the future economic benefits arising from other assets acquired in a business combination that are not individually. Yeah. As an goodwill is an asset representing future economic benefits arising from other asset acquired in a business combination. Acquired in a business combination, right? That are not individually identified. That are not individually identified and separately recognized. And separately recognized. I cannot. Goodwill is an asset representing the future economic benefits, right? Arising from other assets acquired in the business combination that are not individually identified and separately recognized. That's called goodwill. But what is mean to you? What is that? In a business combination, you are acquiring set of assets, right? Set of assets. Again, you can business acquire asset set එකක් what asset separately බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. වෙනවනේ ඒවා ගන්නකොට you can separately identify assets. What are they? Maybe land, buildings, shares, whatever the other assets, right? But there's something. It will create future economic benefits. That similar asset is there, but you can't see. But you can't separately identify. That asset we call as goodwill. At a business combination, you are acquiring set of assets, right? This set of assets, you can identify most of the things. Land, building, everything you can identify. But there's asset. We can't identify. There's something, it will create future economic benefit. We can't recognize that. Those set of assets, we don't know what it is. Those set of assets we call as goodwill. Okay? I hope you are getting it. Right. Now we are going to calculate that definition. That once a goodwill now we are going to calculate. We have two methods, full goodwill method and proportionate goodwill method. Right? Okay. Write a question. Write the question. Right? Star PLC has acquired a subsidiary called Moon. As of first Jan 2025. First Jan 2025. Right. Write it. Star has paid. Has paid. Star has paid 10 million. Rupee 10 million cash consideration. Rupee 10 million cash consideration. 10 million cash consideration to acquire 80% is 80% stake of the moon. Stake. To acquire 80% stake of the moon. The point of acquisition, at the point of acquisition, at the point of acquisition. At the point of acquisition, moon had stated capital RS 9 million, right? Retained earnings, 6 million. 6 million. Rupees 6 million, right? Retained earning rupees 6 million. Okay. Pass it in a door. 6 million. The fair value of non-controlling interest. The fair value of non-controlling interest as at the acquisition date is 2 million. Be 2 million. You are required to calculate. The goodwill by using full goodwill method. full goodwill method. Right? And controlling interest 3 million, right? 3 million ke lada kiwa? 3 million. 2 million. Right. Okay. So we have a question now. Now we are going to calculate goodwill. Your attention should be there, right? The 7 marks you can earn in your exam, right? 7 marks. Right. Here we have a group. What's the parent company? Then we group එකක් තියෙනවා. Parent star, right? Star. Star has invested in Moon. Moon. How much is the percentage? 80. Right? To acquire 80, Star has paid how much? 10 million. 10 million. 10 million. What's the date they have acquired? 1st of Jan 2025. This is the acquisition date. Acquisition date. So this structure you have to write in your paper. Star PLC acquired 80% of Moon on this day. They have paid 10 million by using cash. Right? At the acquisition date, at this date, company Moon මේක ඉස්සරහගෙන Moon එක කොච්චර තියෙනවද equity. දැන් මේ pay කරන්නේ මොකටද? අපි pay කරලා ගන්නවා කියන්නේ company pay කරලා ගන්නවා කියන්නේ what do you mean by that? You are paying to a company and you are purchasing. You are purchasing means we are purchasing net assets. Net assets, right? Net assets mean, in other words, equity. And you are grade 2 wala me equation එක කරලා තියෙනව නේ. Asset equal liabilities plus capital. මේක කරලා තියෙනව නේ. So asset equal liabilities plus capital කිව්වම අපි ගන්නෙ මොකද? Liabilities minus කරොස් asset value equal as net assets. Right? Net assets equals capital plus return. Right? Net assets. Net assets, capital, whatever the equity means same meanings, right? Then, as at the acquisition date, what's your net assets? 6 million plus 9 million. 15 million net assets is there. You can understand. Net assets 15 million. Now net assets to acquire 80%, I am paying 10 million. Star paying 10 million. There's another party interested to the organization. How much is that? 20% stake. That is called non-controlling interest. They are having an interest, but they can't control. Right? But we are having now interest, how much? 80%. We assume that to 80% we are controlling the company. Controlling the mean at the point of acquisition, the control we call as acquisition date. Then what is the acquisition date is? This is the acquisition date. The date you took the control. Acquisition date. As at that date, we need to calculate, is there any invisible asset? Invisible asset. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? ගත්ත asset වලට වඩා තා මොන හරි දෙයක් අපි අරන් තියෙනවා. power එකක් තියෙනවා. එහෙම power එකක් තියෙන දේවල් තියෙන organization එකේ. asset එකට වඩා power එකක් තියෙන දෙයක්. ඕක තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි සීරම තියෙන powers company එකේ report කරන්නේ. as per case 38. Internally generated goodwill. We are not going to record in the books. මොන හරි company එකක් SAP එකේ reputation එක කියලා asset එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. Sampath Bank එකේ reputation එක කියලා in the Sampath Bank books are there a type of asset? No, there's no such a thing. Internally generated brand also we are not going to record. Otara, she developed a brand called Hotel, right? Hotel එක හදලා එයා hotel එක මොකද කරන්නේ? hotel එක විකුණනවා. hotel එක විකුණනකොට asset තියෙන්නේ කොච්චරද? asset තියෙන්නේ 6 billion. එයා විකුණන්නේ කීයටද? එයා විකුණන්නේ 10 billion. So the asset 6 billion. ShopLogic එක 10 billion වලට ගන්නේ කොහොමද? ඉතුරු 4 billion මොකටද? She has not recorded something once she is continuing the business. What is that? That is called intangible asset she has created. That because of different reason. Your customer loyalty, your expert knowledge, your maybe staff experience, and this unique location you are having, and this brand power, different aspects may be there. Right? She did the same thing for Embark. Embark is a brand එකක් හදුවා නේද? Embark එක මොකද කරේ? Embark එක foreign company එකකට දැන් හදලා තියෙන brand එක මොකද්ද? Live and Kicking. ඒකත් එයාගේ brand එක. ඒතරවා එයා මොනවද කරන්නේ? Brand හදනවා විකුණනවා. නේද? So you also can do that. You can create a brand, you need to invest, right? Then you can sell it out. Right? Okay. So, at the point of acquisition, we are going to calculate this goodwill. We are going to calculate this goodwill. Now, I am going to calculate that. So, first, I am going to calculate based on the understanding, based on the, what do you call that, putting this descriptions, I will calculate the goodwill. And then next step, I will do this by using double entries. Both ways, you need to understand this very carefully. Okay, right. So pay your attention. You are learning this for 7 weeks. Right. I gave you 10 million, right? Can you make it 2 million? It get 2 million.
I just need to fix it up.
Can you make it this 10 million, 15 million? You are paying in cash 15 million. What are the 15 million? We are paying in cash 15 million, right? $15 million. Right. This is how we are going to calculate goodwill. Right? Yes, the next step is that how we are going to calculate do the double entry, right? Goodwill calculation. Goodwill calculation. The consideration paid by the staff 15 million to acquire 80%. Another remaining, how much? NCI. NCI කොච්චරද? NCI 20%. Fair value of 20% NCI as of this day. Here the fair value is 2 million. Altogether 17 million. Right? 17 million. The value invested to the organization. අපි කීයක් දීලාද 15. Our 10% here 2 million. Altogether 17 million. The investment. What's the asset base in the company? 15 million. 15 million were asset, they are giving 17 million. 17 million. Right? The 2 million is what? 2 million is the excess we have paid by Star and by NCI. Altogether, we have excess 2 million. That excess 2 million they have paid because of the non-identifiable asset. What is that non-identifiable asset? That's called goodwill, right? That's 2 million. That's තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් concept එක තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් so again, sir, I can't understand that. Simple logic is we have a consideration, we have a net asset as at the acquisition date. Because you have to write that in the exam. Okay. Now we are going to account past double entries to these 2 million. Then after one, made 2 million. Accounts really can get common. Once you are doing console, people asking, sir, how we are going to do that? Are you expecting 3 accounts? Are you expecting statement type of description? I am expecting whatever the thing you can. Right? Mata 3 accounts unna kamak naha, name unna kamak. Ehema console krama dekak tiyala naha. Right? You should understand the logic and the double entry both. Right? T accounts mean the way you are learning the double entry. And the statement mean the concept. What you mean by the goodwill. Then we make a read karama what there there's a consideration from 2 parties. For 80% consideration, 80% stake, 10 million. 20% stake, 2 million. The overall the consideration from 2 parties, 17 million. To 17 million, we are having asset 15 million. The asset the what are pay කරන්න කැමති නෑ. ඔයාට මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ? ඔයාට goodwill එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයා සරලව ගන්න. ඔයා සැබ් එකේ ඩිග්‍රී එක ගත්තම නේද? ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ මොකුත් නෑ. ෆැමිලි එකෙත් මොකුත් නෑ. ඔයාට ඩිග්‍රී එක විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔයා actively වැඩ කරන ළමයි සැබ් එක. First class එකක් තියෙනවා. අනිත් other activities you are involving in a very different way. තව පාටි එකක් ඔයා මැරි කරන්න කැමති. ඔයාගේ net assets වලට වඩා එයා ගෙවන්නේ කැමති ඇයි? ඔයාගේ net assets තියෙන්නේ එච්චර නෑ net assets. එයා ගෙවන්න කැමති ඊට වඩා. එයාට තියෙනවා ඊට වඩා ලොකු assets. එයාව මැරි කරන්න කැමති වෙන්නේ ඇයි? You are having another power. What is that? That is called goodwill. Right? That's called goodwill. Once you are having the goodwill at the business combination, at the point of acquisition, you can account it. Right? Now, that's what we are going to account here. Right? Now we are going to account that, right? How we are going to do this, right? For this, we are calculating, we are preparing a temporary account. We are preparing a account called the stock control account. Stock control account, right? To calculate goodwill, we are supposed to have 3 main accounts. What are they? cost of control account, goodwill account, and non-controlling interest account. These are three accounts we are calculating. We are preparing for the consolidated financial statement, right? Consolidated financial statement. May 15 account and common. The investment made by the staff. What's the double entry? Right. Once you are making the investment, 15 million from the star has paid. Then what's the double entry? Once you are paying cash credit. Right? Cash credit. Now they have debited to maybe investment account or some whatever the account, debit account, right? That debit account should be credit and transferred to this account. Cash credit debit to here. How much? 15. 15 we can say cash. Cash pay කරනකොට මොකද කරන්නේ? Cash credit debit to cost of control account. Right? Debit to cost of control account. This is for 80%, right? Another party is contributing for this. What is that? Another 20% fair value of goodwill. Sorry, fair value of NCI. NCI account, debit here, credit here. Debit here, credit here. NCI account credit, goodwill account debit. Now we completed this two, right? And then we are having the credit side of the cost of control account. Credit side, what is that? We need to get the equity items. Now we are getting these equity items from subsidiary accounts. Subsidiary accounts, we are having two items. What is that? What are they? Stated capital and retained earnings. Stated capital and retained earnings. Stated capital and retained earnings. Right? Stated capital and retained earnings. What are these accounts? These are equity accounts. So they, by nature, these are debit account or credit account. Credit account. Stated capital and retained earnings. Those are credit accounts. Right? Credit accounts. In subsidiary the stated capital subsidiary stated capital stated capital 9 million credit. Retained earnings. These subsidiary accounts, right? Retained earnings 6. Right? What we are going to do then? Debit these two accounts. Credit to here. Stated capital 9 million. Retained earnings 6 million. Right? You need to finalize the account now. Account tally කරන්න දන්නවනේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ account එකක් tally කරනකොට you need to get the side you are having the highest value, right? You can see here 15, here 17. You can put here the highest value. Same value you need to put here 70, right? Then you need to get the value to here. What is that? මෙතන account එක credit කරලා debit කරන්න කොහෙද? Credit here debit to goodwill account. 2. Goodwill is what? Is a asset account. It's asset account. Asset account normally debit. Debit to the credit වෙලාද? Cost of control account credit, debit to here. Then you can close the cost of control account. මේක close කරාම ළමයි කෙල ගාලා බැකුවා. ඒක කරන්න එපා. මේක ඉරල් ගහලා කපන්නේ ඇයි? So now we close the account. So we took the goodwill to goodwill account, right? I hope you are clear with the double entries, right? double entry හරියටම දාගන්නවා. දැන් double entry වෙනවා මගේ ආරුගේ කවදාවත් අහන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් double entry එකකින් entry එක කියලා තියෙනවා. මේක learn කරොත් අපිට ලකුණු හතක් ගන්න Thank you. Okay. I hope you are clear with the double entry. Here we have especially 3 double entries. What are they? Consideration entry, and then HCI entry, and then net asset entry. Right? 3 entries. Consideration, always whatever the asset you have, credit, debit here. Right? HCI, debit here, credit here. Right? Whatever the equity you have at the acquisition date, debit their side and credit here. And you are ending with goodwill. The method of goodwill is a positive value, right? If you are ending with a negative goodwill means you are paying lesser than the net asset. In other words, it's not a profitable entity. What you know, dowry කොච්චරද? 2 billion. හැබැයි wow, American entity 1 billion consideration. මොකද ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ? ඔයා ඩිග්‍රී එකවත් හරියට කරගන්න ඔයාට මොලයක් නැති එක කියන්නේ. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? It's a negative goodwill. It is not a operating entity. It's a negative goodwill. It means you are having net asset how much? 17 billion. The net asset, sorry, consideration 17 million. You are having net assets 20 million. For 20 million net assets, you are having consideration 17. It means negative goodwill 3 million. Negative goodwill means we have another word, gain on bargain purchase, right? Gain on bargain purchase. That's a negative goodwill, right? Put a note. Once we are doing above goodwill calculation. Once you are doing above goodwill calculation. we are supposed to understand three entries. First one, consideration. First one here, Lian Nepal, I'm a first one here. Lian Nepal. First one, consideration. Second, NCI fair value, non-controlling interest fair value. Non-controlling interest fair value. Third one, net assets. What is the there is a dagan on a double entry? Other paid consideration. What's the double entry? Cash credit debit to cost of control account. Cash credit debit to cost of control account. Right? NCI fair value. Cost of control account debit, credit to NCI account. Net assets, respective net assets account debit, credit to cost of control account. Right? Then you need to finalize the cost of control account. Then you are supposed to finalize the cost of control account. If you are ending with a positive balance, it's called as a goodwill. If you are ending with a positive balance, that is called as a goodwill. If you are ending with a positive balance, that is called as a goodwill. If it is a negative balance, it is called as gain on bargain purchase. Once you are having a gain on bargain purchase, it should be directly recorded to the consolidated P&L. It should be directly reported to the consolidated P&L. So the P&L එකට කොහොමද යන්නේ? මොන වගේ එන්ට්‍රි එකක්ද යන්නේ? Income the expense එකක් යන්නේ. Income the expense. දැන් අපේ කොතනින් දෙන්නේ goodwill එක? Negative goodwill. You are ending it here. Negative goodwill එක කොතනින් දෙන්නේ? කොතනින් එන්නේ? Debit here, credit to P&L. Credit income එකක් විතර යන්නේ. Gain on bargain purchase. ඔයා bargain කළා acquisition එකේදී net asset වලට අඩුවෙන් ගෙවන්න. It is a gain on bargain purchase should be recorded as a income in consolidated financial statement, right? Income. Debit cost of control account credit to P&L. මෙතන ඔයාලා දාලා වෙන පාටක ඉලියා ගන්න. මෙතනින් එන්නේ credit to P&L. ඒ මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? වාගේ net assets වලට වඩා අඩුවෙන් තමයි ඔයා pay කරලා. Right? Then 17C step එක බලන්න. එකේ step එක පිළිවෙලක් දාන්න. ආවේ නැහැ මේ පැත්තට නේ. 50. 17C කොතනද තියෙන්නේ? Back එකේ දාගන්න එපා. back එකේ දාගන්න දෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම නිකන් යොලේ ඉන්න වෙලාවට මේ බලන්න. මේක එක කලකට මාන ජොලේ. දෙරම ලියනවා. දෙරම ලියලා තමයි හදන්නේ. මේ 5 marks ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ latest exam එකේ මම අහනවා මෙහෙම. See 5 marks. Explain the difference between goodwill and bargain purchase. Bargain purchase came to the management of Sun PLC and advise on appropriate accounting treatment under Srilanka stream. Right? Explain the difference between goodwill and gain on bargain purchase. Goodwill get positive impact. Sorry. Negative goodwill means gain on bargain purchase. Positive goodwill means the goodwill. Once you are having positive goodwill, you need to recognize that as asset. Once you are having a gain on bargain purchase, it should be credited to the console P&L. That's the only requirement to get 5 marks. Right? So then you should have proper understanding and have that understanding and come to the exam. Then you can get 100 marks for this paper. Right? Right? Okay. Right. Then write something again. Once you are dealing with above goodwill, once you are dealing with above goodwill, once you are dealing with above goodwill, the investor within bracket parent entity, the investor within bracket parent entity can do his investment within bracket consideration, in bracket consideration, by using different methods. Another parent entity can do the investment within bracket consideration by using different methods. First one, cash consideration. cash consideration. You can ලියාගන්න ඉස්සරහට දාලා above example. ඒකට දැන් example එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. above example එක cash consideration එක. නේද? acquire කරන එකට ගත්තේ මොනවද දීලාද? cash දීලා. Right? And then second one, transferring a land or other asset. Transferring a land or another asset. Third, issuing own shares. Issuing own shares. On shares. Fourth, contingent consideration. Contingent consideration. Contingent consideration. Giving future services to the subsidiary. Giving future services to the subsidiary. Future services to the subsidiary. Future services. And sixth, deferred consideration. Deferred consideration. Deferred consideration. Deferred consideration. Right. Yeah, guys. Normally in the exam, about three considerations will be tested. ඒක මේ note එකේ කැලලක් නෙමෙයි නිකන් bracket දාලා වගේ ලියා ගන්න. support එකට. Right. ඒක in the exam about three considerations will be tested. Three considerations will be tested. Right. We are having different considerations, right? Then we මොනවද මේ කතා කරන්නේ? මොකක් ගැනද මේ ලියලා තියෙන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ 50 කියලා එකක් දැම්මොත්. That's a consideration by the parent. මේක එන්න පුළුවන් මේ වෙලේ තියෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? Only cash. Only cash. Right? We may have different option can be used. Whatever the option, cost of control account debit. Right? There's no any other way. Cost of control account debit, where you are going to credit. If it is a land, where you are going to credit, not the cash account, but the land account. If other assets, put to the other asset. If you are transferring empty, right? If you are transferring some other asset, credit to that account, right? No doubt. And what do you mean by issuing own shares? Issuing own shares mean? Issuing own shares mean? Star PLC issuing own shares for the investment. That's salary cash, credit, debit to here. If you are issuing own shares to that investors, mean once they are issuing, once start issuing shares, what's the double entry normally? What's the double entry share issue at the point of share issuance for cash basis? What's the double entry? Stated capital credit, debit to cash. එමනේ. අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තේ කොහෙද? Preschool එකේ. Share capital issue කරා. නේද? Capital issue කරාම to raise the capital, cash debit, credit the capital. Now, Star issuing shares not to raise cash, but to raise other component. Then, Star PLC account, stated capital credit, debit to cost of control account. If you remember that, right? What do you mean by contingent consideration? Contingent consideration. Contingent consideration. තමන් ඔය එකින් එක දාලා topic වලට explanation දෙන්න යන්නේ නැහැ, right? You should understand what's contingent consideration, deferred consideration, contingent consideration. Today I am paying 15 million, right? I am agreeing with them. If that entity, Star PLC, achieving something, after another 3 years down the line, I am planning to pay another 2 million. For that, definitely they should achieve that target. If they are achieving that, I am going to pay another 3 million. It is subject to some event. That's called contingent, right? Contingent consideration. So, to be contingent, it should be, can't be remote. It should be possible. In accounting, we have 3 levels of certainty. What are 3 levels? 3 levels. What are they? Probable, possible, remote. Probable, possible, remote. Right? Probable නම් මොකද කරන්නේ? Probable නම් අපි accounting උත් කරනවා, disclose උත් කරනවා. Accounting උත් කරනවා, disclose උත් කරනවා. We are going to disclose, we are going to account. Account කරනවා, disclose කරනවා දෙකම එකයි. Account කරනවා කියන්නේ we are doing accounting, means we are passing double entries, right? Okay. Possible, we are not passing double entries. We are just disclosing contingent liability, contingent asset, contingent liability. We are not passing double entries. We just disclose, right? Contingent feature. It is possible, right? Remote, no double entry, no disclosure. No double entry, no disclosure, right? So once you are doing the consideration, once you are doing your consideration, if it is possible and probable, only you are going to consider that for goodwill calculation. Goodwill calculation. Probable, possible consideration after maybe 2-3 years down the line. Okay. Once you are having contingent consideration, definitely you need to adjust the time value of money. Time value of money. Right? Time value of money. About contingent consideration. About contingent consideration. Deferred consideration. And future services. Contingent consideration, deferred consideration, and future services. We should adjust the time value of money. We should adjust the time value of money. We should adjust the time value of money. ඒව හැම එකේදී මොකද වෙන්න ඕන? time value of money adjust කරන්න ඕන. මොකද ඒක delay වෙලා තමයි හම්බ වෙන්නේ අපිට. Right? Time value of money. In a case of contingent consideration, In a case of contingent consideration. In case of contingent consideration. You are supposed to ensure the possibility of contingent activity. Right. Can you all see this type of contingent consideration? See, the one of the exam question, right? I'm going to read through. The Summit Global PLC, a leading educational service provider in Sri Lanka, acquired 100% of equity interest in Pioneer PLC. Summit PLC acquiring 100% stake in Pioneer PLC. Another prominent private education company, right? The date 1st January 2025, 2025, right? The acquisition was structured with direct cash consideration of 15 million. Direct cash consideration of 15 million. Alongside a payment of 5 million due in 2 years. Within 2 years, conditional upon Pioneer obtained UGC approval for its approved accounting special degree program within 1 year of acquisition. In addition, Summit transfers one of its own land asset recorded at book value 5 million, which had fair value 6 million as at January 2025. Right? So, how many considerations are there here? 3 considerations, right? First one cash consideration, other one contingent consideration, other one is land. So exam එකේ අනිවාර්යෙන් goodwill calculation එකට මම කොච්චර consideration දෙනවද? Consideration 3ක්වත් දෙනවා test කරන්න. Right? It will be cash, it will be asset, it will be a contingent consideration. Right? But the contingent කියලා කියන යට දෙනවා තව paragraph එකක්. Adjustment 2. As per the latest communication with University Grants Commission, UGC, Pioneer is required to make significant updates to the curriculum of its accounting special degree, right? Program. Management has estimated that the minimum 1.5 years will be needed to complete the suggested updates. What do you think? Are you getting? Okay. Make question again. Consideration to not get 3 consideration. One is cash, other one is contingent consideration. What is that? We are purchasing a university. We are paying another 2 million if they can acquire the UGC approval within another 1 year. So the management estimate කරලා කියනවා මොකද කියන්නේ? As per the latest communication with UGC, finance is required to make significant update in its curriculum. Accounting special degree program, management has estimated that the minimum of 1.5 years will be needed to complete the suggested updates. එතකොට 1 year ඇතුලේ කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? බෑ. It means it is remote. It is remote. It is remote. You need to justify that. It should be possible contingent consideration. If it is so, you are not supposed to do the calculation. Then make a clear understanding එකක් නැතිලා මම මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ value එකේ type value of money හොයලා interest calc කරලා සේරම කරලා goodwill එකකට adjust කරනවා. එතකොට ඔයාලට මොකද වෙන්නේ? What will happen? You will take time and your goodwill will be incomplete, incorrect, and you are ending with very low mark. What නිකම්ම කරන්න පුළුවන් වැඩේ මොකක්ද? You need to put a statement. This is a remote consideration. Because of that, I am not going to adjust to goodwill calculation. You need to put an assumption. Right? Keep remember, if you are not aware of this, if you are doing your time value of money for this consideration, definitely you are ending with low marks. මම බලන්නවා මේක goodwill calculation එකට ගත්තේ නැද්ද කියලා. ගන්නේ නැති වෙන්න reason එක දාන්න. Keep remember that. Okay, I hope it is clear. Right. Now we are going to make it only 1 year to current bank. More than 1.5 years, slightly again, more than 1.5 years. What if you want to work 1 year? You need to understand it. Slightly, I am saying this can't be possible. Right? I hope you are clear with this consideration, right? Now we are moving to console questions. How we are going to deal with in a console question. Now we know how we are going to calculate goodwill by using statements, right? Description and calculate. Now we are going to know, now we know that how we are going to pass double entries. But still we don't know how we are incorporating in a console question. Console question එක ගාව මේ කොහොමද කරන්නේ කියලා තමයි දැන් කරන්න යන්නේ. Right? In a console question, if we are having a goodwill, how we are going to deal with? That's what I am going to do now. Okay. And interval අරගෙන આવොත් ඔයාලට නේද? ප්‍රශ්නයක් දැන්. interval අරගෙන නේද? lunch එකත් අරගෙන ආවට පස්සේ පැය භාගයකට ගිහිල්ලා මට අදාළ ඉන්නේ රූම් එකට. ඉන්නම බැරි කට්ටිය. You can go and come. I'm going to start one of a good console question, right? That will be very important. How to deal with this goodwill calculation in a console question. Now you know what is a goodwill. Definition, calculation, understanding is there. Now I am going to do this in a console question. ඒක ටක්කාර කරන්න කලින් ඉවරෙන් ටක්කාර වතුර බීගන්නේ. I'm giving 5 minutes. Console question set 2. LMS එකට දාලා තියෙන console question set 2. Open that. Console question set 2. Right? We are going to do console question set 2. Set 2 again. I'm going to do the second question. Right? Second question. Here is the question. Read the question first. I'm going to do the second question. Console question set 2. Second question. Console questions දාලා තියෙනවා කියලා දන්නවනේ. මෙතනින් ගාන ගාන අත ඉවර වෙලා ගාන ඉවර කඩන බලන්න කියන වෙන්නේ balance sheet එකට මේ account එකට ඒ accounts එක මේ market කරලා ඉවරනට පස්සේ ඉරියල් මේක තමයි balance sheet එකට ගන්න කියන්නේ balance sheet එකේ duplicate මේකයි LCI කියන මේකයි මේ account එක intermediary account Question Now we are going to do this console question, right? Then other lamai practical. It started from theories, right? Consolidated financial statement, parent, subsidiary, power, controlling over the entity. We discussed that. And then what is the acquisition is? At the point of acquisition onwards, you need to do the consolidation. And then we are having adjustments. We had two types of adjustment, pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. Pre-acquisition, we are having the key adjustment, goodwill calculation. Now we are doing that. Once we are doing goodwill calculation, we understood what is goodwill, and then we put the description and statement type calculation, and we did GL calculation, the account-wise calculation. Now we are going to do that in a console balance sheet, a question, right? Have good practice. Okay, here we have A company and B company, right? A company balance sheet, B company balance sheet, and A company acquired 60% of B company. A acquired B 60%. Who is the parent? A. B is the subsidiary. Once we are doing consolidated, prepare the consolidated statement for financial position. That's a requirement, right? What's the requirement? Calculate the consolidated financial statement of financial position. Now we are going to do the console balance sheet, right? Consolidated balance sheet. Then you need to understand what is the basic process we need to follow. The same process will be followed for long question. If you are having maybe 10 adjustments, then method adjustments here we are having only one adjustment. Only one adjustment. The difference between the exam question and this is what? Here we are adding another 9 adjustments. So what I can again very number Yalo kill the past. The other one try Yalo kill that was the past making then what you need to do? Today you need to try. That's the uniqueness. That's the specialty in console. If you are missing today, if you are not doing today, you can't catch this from your friend at the last moment, right? Then you are missing corporate reporting. You are missing your applied accounting degree. You are missing your more than 1.5 million. Then you are missing your life. It's a cycle. Console lead to it's a cycle. Don't put into that. Don't get into it. Right? My request is start from very simple things. Try to make it, try to understand it, do calculations, do practice, and we'll learn this. That's it, right? So try to do this now. So I will do with you all. First question I'm doing with you all. You can do one by one, step by step, right? Here we have a question. First, what we need to do? Check the requirement. Required. Prepare the consolidated statement of financial position. That is clear. You need to calculate. Consolidated balance sheet. Here we have what? Individual two balance sheet. Parent entity and subsidiary entity. As we discussed today morning, consolidated financial statement means we are having separate balances. We need to combine it and get the one single entity. Right? We think as parent and subsidiary is one single entity. Okay? As a one single entity, what is the balance sheet we can get? That's the requirement. That's the end result. For that, now we are going to do the calculations and get the final balance sheet. Right. For this, actually, I need the board. How can we manage this situation? Right. Now we are going to do consolidation, right? Right. We need to draft consolidated statement of financial position of APLC as at 31st December 2016. Right? 2016. So we are going to get this answer, and here I'm going to do the calculation, right? I'm going to do the calculation. Once you are doing your console question, we are supposed to have this 5 accounts. What are they? Cost of control account, non-controlling interest account, goodwill account, consolidated earnings account, right? Consolidated earnings account. Subsidiary return earnings account. These are the 5 accounts you're supposed to calculate. So what is that? Cost of control, NCI, goodwill, consolidated earnings and subsidiary return earnings. Okay. Once you are doing your console questions, very important aspect is the assumption, right? Assumption. Assumptions. If any assumptions you are going to use for the calculation, you need to put separately. Assumptions, right? Now we are going to start our consolidation, we need to understand what is the period, right? What's the period? First Jan 2016, 31st December 2016, right? That is the 12 months period. This acquisition happened when some people last week again. Once you are having acquisition, it can be happen in 4 different places. This acquisition happened when? What are the 4 different places? What are the 4 different places? Acquisition can be happen first date of the year, mid of the year, end of the year, before the year. Those are the 4 possible options. But this acquisition happened when? This acquisition happened. How the acquire first date of the year. Api financial hadassah 31st December 2016 at the year end. The acquisition happened 1st January 2016. Right? 1st January 2016. Then keep remember that you need to calculate the goodwill calculation at the acquisition date. Our goodwill calculation as at the acquisition date, 1st January 2016, when the goodwill calculation is. Then, as at that date, consideration, as at that date, net assets. You need to compare that. Right. What's the investment? What is the investment? Investment in P, how much? How much? 290. Investment in B. Who has invested? A has invested. How they have put this asset? Cash credit debit to investment in B account. Are cash here whenever account take it down into investments here. Then what we are going to do now? Investment in B account credit debit to cost of control account. Investment take a method. You can see the investment to acquire B. A has invested how much? 290. A 290 investment in B. Are you okay with that? Now I am going to calculate goodwill, right? For goodwill calculation, we need to understand parent's investment and at the acquisition date, subsidiary net assets. How much is the parent investment? 290 kilo parent nanti kattiya kiyanna. 290 is the parent investment. Why? Cash credit debit to this account. See? Cash credit debit to this account. Investment in B, 290. Okay. Now we are going to get that to the cost of control account. This is a debit account of credit here. Credit here, debit to cost of control account, 290. Cash or investment. Cash or investment, right? Cash or investment, 290. Right. Then you can see subsidiary return earnings 190. Parent return earnings how much? 220. This one done. Right? You can see return earnings. Return earnings. Parents 220, subsidiary 190. මේ amounts දෙක දාගන්න ඕනේ. මේ amounts දෙක ඇතුළත. Consolidated earnings how much? 220 at the year end. Subsidiary earnings 190. This is a consolidated earnings. Parents and subsidiary both return earnings down. We are keeping aside subsidiary return earnings account. Balance is this. Consolidated earnings 220, subsidiary return earnings 190.
Right. 820.
Okay. Now we have adjustment here. See, retained earnings of B on the acquisition date were LKR 150. What do you mean by that? Retained earnings of B. Where are the retained earnings? At the acquisition date. How much? How much? 150. 150. What do you think? They may 150, 190 වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා තේරෙනවද? Year end එක වෙනකොට. Acquisition date කියන්නේ කවදද? Acquisition date කියන්නේ first January 2016. Right? What is this? As at the 31st December 2016. මෙන්න ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇහුවොත්. Subsidiary එකේ 2016. What do you think about the profit? Do you know that return earnings mean accumulated profit? Are you getting me? Return earnings mean accumulated profit, right? Opening return earnings during the period, once you add in during the period profit, end return earnings. Okay. What do you think about end return earnings? 190. Opening return earnings given 150. During the period profit. During the period profit 40 කියලා තේරෙනවා නේ. එහෙම තේරෙන්නේ නැති ළමයි කියන්නේ. සර් මට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඔයාට නේද? එක්කෝ අහන් ඉන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවා එතන මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවනේ. Return earnings කියන්නේ accumulated profit. At the year end 190, opening balance 150, during the period profit 40. Okay, sir? During the period profit 40. 150 plus 40, 190. You can see in the balance sheet. Right? You can see in the balance sheet. Then, to the cost of control account for the goodwill calculation, what we supposed to do? What we supposed to do? For the goodwill calculation, we need to get the consideration and net asset as at the acquisition date. එහෙනම් අපි දෙන්න ගන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද? 190 150. 150 ගන්න. 150 ගත්ත expire කරාට පස්සේ තමයි අපි අනිත් 40 earn කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකට කියන්නේ pre-acquisition return earnings and the post-acquisition return earnings. මේක කැලේ දෙක සැඩ කැලේ. May 190 හැදලා තියෙන්නේ 150 before acquisition, after 40. Pre-acquisition part එක අපි ගන්නවා කොහටද? We are transferring to the cost of control account for goodwill calculation purpose. Then debit here 150, debit here 150, debit here 150, credit here 150. Subsidiary return earnings. අනේ goodwill calculation එකෙත් මේකම කරා අපි නේද? එතකොට මේක කීයද ඉතුරුනේ? මේක කීයද ඉතුරුනේ? 40 ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඔයාලට තේරෙන්න ඕන දැන්. ඩිග්‍රී මොලේට තේරෙන්න ඕන 190 තිබිලා 150 opening එක ගත්තා නම් during the year after acquisition return earning portion will remain in this account. Right? Remain in that account. Then for the goodwill calculation, what remaining? Now මොනවද උනවන්නේ? Return earning ගත්තා. At the acquisition date, something else, stated capital. Then what mother can know? Stated capital plus return earnings. Stated capital, is there a difference between the year end and the acquisition date? No. If it is so, the examiner should give. You should assume that there's no any change in the stated capital. Put the assumption. We assume that there's no any change in the stated capital at the year end and the acquisition date. Put assumption. If there's a change, he's supposed to give. For the retained earnings, he has given. Because of that, we adjusted it. Put assumption that we assume that at the year-end stated capital is equal to the acquisition date stated capital of the subsidiary. Right? Right. How much is the stated capital then? Stated capital, subsidiary stated capital, 40. This is done. This is done. 40 done. 40, කොහොමද ගන්නෙ? Subsidiary stated capital තියෙන්නේ මොන විදිහටද? Credit. Debit to where? Debit to this account. Sorry. Subsidiary තියෙන්නේ credit. ඒක debit කරලා credit කරන්න මොකද්ද? Cost of control accounting. දැන් ඔන්න goodwill calculation එකට අවශ්‍ය ජාති තුනක් අරන් තියෙන්නේ. මොනවද අරන් තියෙන්නේ? Consideration එක clear 290, acquisition date stated capital 40, retained earnings 150. The consideration and the equity. තා මොන හරි එකක් මදිය දෙන්න. What is that? NCI. ඉහිල්ල බලන්නකො goodwill calculation කලින් question එකේ cost of control account එක. මෙතන තියෙන දේවල් වලිනුයි තාම අපරි මදි කියලා දැන් තේරෙන්න ඕනවා. මෙහෙම goodwill එක calculate කරලා you are ending with the error picture, right? Because of to the goodwill we have contributed by using two parties. This is only 60%. Only 60% this is. Right? Only 60%. 60%. Other 40%, where is that? It is silent. Examiner has not given the fair value of NCI, no. Now what we are going to do? Examiner silent, isn't it? Adjustment no. He is silent. In that previous question, it was clearly given. As at the acquisition date, NCI value, fair value is 3 million, no 2 million. It was given, but here, he is silent. අපි දැන් ගාන නවත්තලා උඩ බලන් ඉන්නවද නැහැ? What we supposed to do? Put assumption. As at the acquisition date, NCI fair value equal to the book value. Put assumption. Put assumption and then the second assumption. As at the acquisition date of B, NCI fair value equal to the book value. NCI fair value equal to the book value. Then calculate it. NCI book value එක කීයද? Fair value ගන්න. අපි assume කරනවා fair value equal to the book value. What's the book value? Book value means as at the acquisition date, you can understand the net asset value is what? 190. As at the acquisition date, net asset value is 190. As at the acquisition date, the net asset value is 190. කොහොමද ආවේ? 190. Return earnings 150. Stated capital 40. Altogether 190. 190 is the net asset value. Book value of NCI. What is that? This is the total value. Book value into 40%. What's the NCI portion? NCI portion is 40%. 190 into 40%. Get the value. 190 into 40%. How much? 76. 76. 76 is the NCI value. NCI value. Come to the cost of control account. Come to the cost of control account. Put NCI double entry. How we are going to do that? Cost of control account, debit. NCI account, credit. 76. Right? $76 ආව නැති කට්ටිය තේරුම් නැතු කට්ටිය කියන්න ඕන. ඒක එක්සෑම් එකෙන් එක එක විදිහට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. එක්සෑම් එකේ silent නම් කරන්න ඕන විදිහට තමයි මේක ඇදෙන්නේ. If it is silent, right? If it is given as a fair value of NCI, use it. If examiner is silent about NCI value, you have to get the book value. Put the assumption. එතකොට ලකුණු වැඩි මොන වෙලාවටද? silent වෙලාවට. මම බලන assumption එකක් දාලාද ගානක් හදලාද කියලා. You need to have a good sense, right? Right. Okay, cool. Now you are fully included all the elements for goodwill calculation. Right? Goodwill calculation. If you have some more adjustments, right? My request is don't finalize this account. Wait till you are completing your other adjustments as well. But here we don't have any other adjustments. Now what we can do? Now we can straight away finalize your goodwill account. Calculate the goodwill now. Finalize your cost of control account. $176 आप नती तेरे नती आए क्या? 176 goodwill. The same activity we did, we are repeating here, right? Consideration, net asset at the acquisition date, NCI fair value, calculate the goodwill. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you please repeat how to calculate NCI 76?
76. Okay.
Yeah.
76
What?
actually with the last question. Here, NCI value, about NCI value, examiner silent. Right? Question is silent about NCI fair value. Right? NCI fair value. Now we supposed to get a value for NCI. For that, we know that we have the book value, right? Book value means as at the acquisition date, we have the net asset value. Net asset value into the percentage of the ownership percentage, we can get the net asset value, the book value. As at a given time, let's say, whatever the company, you are having 20%, other party having 80%, right? You can say that my stake is, my book value of the asset is the net asset value into my stake. My stake 20% into net asset value. That's the book value you own, right? But here, if that examiner silent about NCI value, you have to get the book value. You are putting an assumption NCI fair value equal the book value at the acquisition date. Again, by repeating myself, you have to put assumption NCI fair value equal to the book value. Are you okay about that?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then what we are going to calculate the book value as at the acquisition date. Book value how much? Book value can net asset value. Net asset value here. Stated capital plus retained earnings. Stated capital plus retained earnings may count again here. 150 plus 40, 190. 190 into 40% is 76. 40% can move stake 190 can move retained earnings plus stated capital. Are you okay about 76?
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Anything, any doubt? Any doubt? Ask me. Okay, ආදෝගේ තහන්න බලාගෙන ඉන්න එපා please. We are okay with 176. Then what we are going to do then? Then what we are going to do? Then you have to come to subsidiary retained earning account. Subsidiary retained earning account. Subsidiary retained earning account. What's supposed to do then? Subsidiary retained earnings. You know that this account remaining another 40, right? That 40 you should understand that 40 earns after the acquisition. Are you okay with that? After the acquisition. Okay, that is the earning profit after 1st January 2016. That profit relates to two parties. Who are they? Parent and the NCI. Parent and the NCI. Here we have another 40. That 40 should be divided to two parties. 60% to parent, 40% to NCI. Right? 60% to parent. That 40 24. 24 consolidated earnings, right? Another 60 NCI, NCI. Pay 24 part debit here, credit here. Subsidiary return earnings. Subsidiary return earnings. Right? A16 part there. Debit here. Part there. Debit here, credit. NCI. What is the logic in the note? After having the NCI at the first date, after having 1 year, NCI increased by 16%. Why? During the period profit. Right? It's 24 relating to the company. Consolidated return earnings means parent plus subsidiary. Parent plus subsidiary. Parent එක අපි කෙලින්ම දාගත්තා opening balance එක. Subsidiary එක ගන්න මොන වෙලාවටද? අන්තිමට ගන්න. Keep remember that. Keep remember that. We are keeping aside subsidiary return earnings. And finally you split that and get the parent portion. Right? Keep remember that. Right. What මෙතෙන්ට ගෙලිම 176 ගේන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔයා මෙතන දාන්න පුළුවන්. Credit here, debit 176 හොඳද? Goodwill account එකට දාලා තියන්න. දැන් ඔයා බලන්න goodwill account එකේ නැද්ද කියලා. Credit here, debit here. මේක තමයි ගේන්නේ අපිට 176. Right? Then ඔයා finalize කරන account. දැන් මේ account එක ඉවරයි. This account done. This account complete. अरे मकला दान के बाद. Two accounts complete. Right? Because we completed this account, took the balance to goodwill account. That's done. We complete this account, balance transfer to two account. Right? We are not getting anything from subsidiary return account to the balance sheet. Right? Now we are going to finalize this account. NCI. NCI how much? What's the consolidated earnings? Subsidiary return earnings and the parents return earnings. ඒක හැදලා තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද? Parents opening return earnings, subsidiary post acquisition return earnings. This is 244, right? So we took three balances we wanted to get to the consolidated balance sheet. What are the three balances? Goodwill, NCI, and consolidated earnings. Those are the three critical balances we supposed to calculate once you are calculating what doing consolidation. What are three accounts? Goodwill, consolidated earnings, NCI. Right? This NCI, this consolidated earnings, this goodwill. Are you okay? Right. Then we are going to the balance sheet. Now almost done the question. Then අපිට එක දෙයක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Ordinary shares of the parent company. Keep remember that. Stated capital of the parent entity 60,000. That 60,000, you have to get that as a stated capital of the consolidated accounts. If you remember that, whatever the consolidation, parent entity stated capital is the consolidated stated capital. What's the meaning of that? Other stated capital, other subsidiary stated capital, all will set off with the goodwill. Because that stated capital, subsidiary stated capital, that's the goodwill calculation. Right? Now you are going to put the tick mark and get all these balances. Right? Non-current asset, PP&E. What are the two balances? Now line by line consolidation. Line by line consolidation. 75 plus 90. 75 plus 90. 75 plus 90. PP&E 165, right? And then what else you are having? Api investment එක ගත්තා, right? Now it's done. Current asset 135 plus 210. Current asset 135 plus 210. Three, four, five. Then this one done. Done, right? Then equity we do, retained earnings we do, this all done, right? The මේවා ගත්තේ කොහාටද කියලා හොඳට බලාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. 220 කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ? 244 ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා 220. තියෙනවද? 220 opening balance is within RLP. Right. Including 244, we have this 220. 190, we have taken 150 to goodwill calculation, 42 the post-acquisition return earnings, right? And then non-current liabilities, 130 plus 45. Non-current. Non-current liabilities. 130 plus 45. $175. Current liabilities 90 plus 25. Current liabilities. 90 plus 25. 90 plus 25. 115. Right. All other things we added line by line consolidation, right? Then we came and ළමයි මොකද කරන්නේ? Balance sheet දෙක දුන්නු ගමන් console කියලා balance sheet දෙක එකතු කරලා console එකට දානවා. ඒක ලකුණු දෙකයි. මේක එකතු කරාට ලකුණු හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේ. තේරම එකතු කරලා දැම්මම ලකුණු දෙකයි. Don't do that, right? Right. It's 186, right? So then all assets should be equal to the liabilities. So here we need critically you need to focus about goodwill calculation, NCI, cost or return. These are the red colored three balances to count, right? We have done the balance sheet, right? I did a balance sheet. Okay. Right. Step by step, we are learning something now. Okay. Now we know the arrangement here. Next week, what we are going to do? We are planning to do adjustment one by one. Okay. You need to insert that adjustment to this equation. There's no change. Similar, don't do the adjustment. Adjustment is something to do. Here we are going to How does
This
it
time
go?
for Allah.
Adjustment will be
Yeah.
included to the consolidated earnings. Both subsidiary return earnings. अब adjustment एक करना तो हट गई. Whatever the unadjusted item will be adjusted. Subsidiary return earnings go consolidated earnings. Why? The remaining adjustment after addition. After adjustment, you need to use. So don't worry, practice this. Practice this. And once you are coming to next class, what assignment take up here? Here we have assignment. I have given this console question set 2. It's including 5 or 6 questions, right? 6 questions. Remember that. You have to do all 6 questions in a paper. Right? Who are coming to the physical class, please bring it and give it to me by putting your index number and the name. For one question, I am giving 5 marks. 5 into 6, 30 marks will be given for your assignments, right? It's very critical assignments. You have to do the same question again in your book. Right? 6 questions you need to practice and give it to me. Without a borrowed balance sheet, balance sheet के higher para clear नहीं है balance. Right? ये बात करेंगे वाला. Income balance sheet के higher para clear. Don't do that. So I want to see 6 balance sheet with this type of 6 working. How many cost of control accounts should be there? 6 cost of control accounts, right? And do in a paper, people who are joining virtually, I will create a link. You need to upload it. Others can't. You have to submit it in a hard copy form. Right? Because console you need to practice. Whatever the things learned today, if you are not practicing, definitely it will be forgotten out. Once you are coming to next class, you need to expert on this. Then and there you can do adjustments. So by adjustment, set take a next week. Then you will familiar with all the adjustments. Then what's the next step? The next step is doing full console question. Next step, right? Full console question. Here is step console question with the P&L and the balance sheet both. Step foreign subsidiary का foreign branch exclude the subsidiary का कितना दिन console का, right? So that is the transition. That is the revolution. You can see. We learned the theory. We did the goodwill calculation. We just learned the arrangement. Now we are going to learn adjustments, right? Adjustments. Then we'll do a full console, and then we'll do some more complex adjustment related to console. That is the plan we are having. Keep remember that. I hope you are on the track. So we'll continue that. And here we have the